Last night I read Genesis 1 and 2, and honestly, I didn't expect to feel this curious. I thought it would be straightforward. In the beginning, God created, but instead, I found myself pausing, rereading, and asking a lot of questions. And the very first thing that caught me off guard was something simple, but also kind of huge. There are two creation accounts. At first, I thought, wait, did I miss something? But the more I sat with it, the more it made sense. Genesis 1 felt like a drone shot, the big sweeping view of the whole world being formed: land, sky, light, animals, oceans, and then the humans created in God's image. Genesis 2 feels completely different. It zooms in, it's intimate, it's the close up shot of the main characters: the human, the garden, the breath of life, the animals, the woman. And suddenly I realized storytelling works like that. Sometimes you need the wide angle, and sometimes you need the close up. And once I understood that shift in perspective, something else started tugging at my curiosity. I found myself really drawn to the Garden of Eden, especially the part about the river that divides into four. I looked it up and learned that two of those rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, still exist today in modern day Iraq. And then that made me pause. It made me wonder, did the world begin somewhere in the Middle East? Did God create one giant landmass and then let it split into continents? Or was that science? And if God created the Earth, did he also create the other planets? And if so, why? They don't seem to serve a purpose for us. And then I remembered something interesting: the Big Bang Theory, which was actually proposed by a Catholic priest. It makes me imagine God initiating the moment. Like, maybe the universe really did begin with one explosive burst of energy, and God was the one who lit the match. Maybe science and fate aren't fighting each other. Maybe they're telling the same story, but in different languages. And as I kept reading, the focus shifted again, this time from the world around us to the people within it. When I read about God creating the human from dust and then creating the woman as a partner, something about that felt grounding. Like, of course, there had to be a beginning. Of course, there had to be a relationship. And the idea that we all came from God, that we're intentionally made, I found that comforting. But then the story takes an interesting turn, one that made me stop and really think. The tree of knowledge. Why put it there? Why tell the human not to eat from it? It feels like such a dangling fruit moment. Like literally. It reminds me of how even today, the more someone tells us don't do that, the more we want to do it. That little spark of defiance, that curiosity, that but what if? I haven't gotten to the part where they actually eat the fruit yet, but I know it's coming. And I can't help wondering, were they hungry? Were they curious? Were they rebellious, like teenagers testing boundaries? Or do we feel that way now because of what they did then? And that curiosity, of course, led me down another little rabbit hole. I started wondering about their names. In Genesis 1 and 2, they're just called the man and the woman. I didn't realize that Adam actually comes from the Hebrew word hadham, which means human or earth creature. And Eve, mother of all the living, she was only named after the fruit was eaten, after everything changes. It's so interesting how names in the Bible carry meaning, identity, and destiny. So that's where I'm at right now after reading Genesis 1 and 2. Curious, wondering, asking questions I never thought to ask before. And honestly, I'm excited to keep reading, not just to learn what happened next, but to understand why they ate the fruit, why we still wrestle with the same impulses today, why these ancient stories feel so human. So, if you're reading along with me, or if you've ever wondered about these things also, you're not alone. I'm learning as I go, and I'm letting myself be curious. And maybe that's the whole point.